morning, good noon, good evening, wherever time and place you listen to us from. Straight from the 909, it's Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Ali.
What up?
Myself, Nesquick, and together, that's Hip Hop. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really does mean a lot. Today, we're taking a trip into the adventures of a rapper known for his genre-blending style that fuses hip-hop with elements of pop, rock, funk, and electronic music. Emerging in the late 2000s, he gained mainstream attention with his debut album, which I'll mention shortly. His style stands out for his melodic sensibility, catchy hooks, and willingness to experiment beyond traditional rap boundaries. Bob's lyrical themes often explore personal introspection, fame, and at times conspiracy theories, especially in his later work, adding layers to the intrigue and controversy to this artist's identity. Bob is multifaceted, shapeshifter, some might describe him as. Early in his career, he was celebrated as a fresh, versatile voice capable of crossing over into pop and rock charts without losing its hip-hop core. He played a key role in shaping the sound of the 2010s pop rap era, influencing how rap artists could successfully blend genres. However, his late years were marked with a shift towards independent releases and a more underground appeal, especially after he publicly embraced fringe scientific theories like, dare I say it, flat Earth, which sparked both criticism and curiosity. Despite the controversies, Bob remains a creative force who broke molds, challenged expectations, and left an indelible mark on the evolution of mainstream rap. We're talking about the debut album, Bob Presents The Adventures of Bobby Ray, released April 27, 2010 by Grand Hustle Records, Rebel Rock Entertainment, and Atlantic Records. Production was handled by Bob Creda, Dr. Luke, Smeezingtons, Jim Johnson, Lil C, Alex the Kid, Polo the Don, and DJ Frankie. The album debuted at number 1 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart. I don't know if people know how hard that is to debut as number 1 as a feat. Selling 84,000 copies in its first week, it attained international charting and spawned 3 chart-topping singles. Three of those suckers, including the Billboard's hits "Nothing on You," which I mean this was like at the dawn of Bruno Mars coming into light.
It's the first time I ever heard of him.
Yep.
The Magic, Airplanes. Upon his releases, Bob Presents The Adventures of Bobby Ray received positive reviews from most music critics. Singles on this include those 3 that I just mentioned, plus Bed Eye and I'll Be in the Sky and Magic. This length of the album was 47 minutes and 57 seconds. This one's going to be a fun one. I first of all forgot about this dude. He was really big during that year in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere without hearing this guy's singles and his topping records. It's like you had to have heard it. But it was also a time, and I'm going to be honest, it was a time when in hip hop for me, coming from the true underground type of style, backpack, giddy rapping, like to me, it marked an era of like, is hip hop dead? But looking back retrospectively, you see that, Bob was experimental, that he was trying to do something different and new. Coming from Atlanta, he brought an Atlanta sound, which is dope. Mark presented this album to us for us to share today. What led you to bringing up Bobby Ray?
At this point in 2008, I think it was one of the greatest lineups that Rock the Bells had. They had a few different stages, and they actually had a stage where it was Tyga, the Cool Kids, and B.o.B on the stage. And B.o.B was on stage with his guitar doing I'll Be in the Sky.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In 08. So this is where we get a little bit of confusion with the track listing on The Adventures of Bobby Ray, where certain countries got certain track listings and other countries didn't. So, but listening to him, and I want to say this with supreme confidence, this guy's multi-talented. And when you're multi-talented like that in hip hop, that prompts people to see that, hey, look, there's something beyond what you're doing in hip hop, and we all see it. Hence, all the people that do it, your Missy Elliott's, your OutKasts, your people that are just like, whoa, these guys are bigger than hip hop. For a moment in time, in a brief moment, it was very apparent that he was multifaceted in that regard. A good case in point for something of a non-musical example is The Rock's first WWF run. After a little while, it becomes very apparent that The Rock was way more than a wrestler.
Out of here.
Hollywood was knocking on the door saying, we will pay you 4 times more than what you make in a year for one movie. And The Rock's in it. Scorpion King. Boom. Done. So case in point with B.o.B, when I saw it, I was like,
that's a good correlation there.
The talent was there. The talent was there, and it was executed because you got 84,000 copies off the gate. You have all these singles that are already pumped up through the mainstream.
Through the machine, yeah.
Yeah, but in the fact of like, hey, look, it's not financially driven. It's actually talent driven momentum.
That is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
So yeah, that's what really got me into B.o.B. And I mean, I'll be able to find the clips, but there's a one shot with me, Dre, and Jonathan Ford, and I'm wearing the B.o.B shirt, the exact
dope.
Adventures of Bobby Ray joint.
That's dope.
And then when I met him at Rock the Bells 08 too. So
what was your first introduction, Ali?
First time I ever heard of him, it was 2009. He was on the first XXL freshman cover. And
That's right.
Again, this was the time where the freshman covers were everything. Like, this is peak blog era, probably one of my favorite times in hip hop. The blog era it spawned so many artists and so much talent from all different places. And the freshman cover was one of those things that took place during the blog era where you would find out about up and coming artists, who's next, who they think is going to blow up soon. Again, some reached crazy heights. Some had, good, decent runs. Some had quick, hot runs. Some really didn't blow up at all. But at a time, they made enough noise to make these XXL freshman covers.
Ali, real quick, while we're still talking about the blog era stuff,
Yep.
I had a question because I briefly have a hand in the blog era as far as like trying to understand it. Mm-hmm. But the reviews come from a place where no one's like financially getting anything off of it. These are like reviews and people that vouch for it just based on the skill.
This is all fans. These are fans. These are underground journalists. These are radio personalities. This is everybody.
So it's like rooted in something decent, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is everybody. This is our organic, true fans. Showing up. Putting people on the mixtapes, on the albums coming out. Different artists, really, really showing that love to all these different type of artists. So B.o.B is one of the many, many artists from the blog era that I, was introduced to from that XXL freshman cover. So I just want to shout out, the other artists from his particular cover because it was the first one that they called the Freshman 10.
That's dope.
It was B.o.B, Charles Hamilton.
I'm curious who else was on this list.
Charles Hamilton.
It was B.o.B, Charles Hamilton, Asher Roth, Corey Guns, Blue, Mickey Fax, Currency, Kid Cudi, Ace Hood, and Wale.
Okay, Wale.
So that was his class, and that
interesting class.
Started the trend. The thing is, I love all of those classes from that. I would say 09 to maybe like 2014.
Yeah.
2014 might have been the last one that kind of like. So yeah, this is, like I said, it started the trend of looking into these XXL covers every year, putting people on, all these different artists from all over the place.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say it was kind of cool because in basketball too, they did that with freshmen, their classes.
Yeah, like
stuff.
draft classes.
Yeah,
it's like a draft class. That's kind of what they got the idea from.
Yeah.
And this being the first class that they labeled the freshman 10, again, it's the first time I ever heard of B.o.B, was seeing him on that cover. So from there, I'm trying to check out his mixtape, see what he's about.
Yeah, he created a buzz for sure with mixtapes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
T.I.
Before it all happened.
Then, I think around this time is when T.I. signs him to Grand Hustle. So, that already gives him a leg up cosign.
Right.
And low key, not really on purpose, but kind of a little, not that he's not a street artist per se, but you got instant street cred. T.I. is backing you.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
So already he has the streets without even having to be a street rapper because you got backing from T.I. who's
T.I. street team on
literally the king of the South at the time and one of the hottest artists out.
That's a good cosign right there.
Great cosign, great leg up, and another Atlanta artist. So that's kind of the early buzz I got from B.o.B. was seeing him on that freshman cover. Then going back because when that cover came out, I think the only ones I had heard of were Corey Guns, Wale, and I think Currency. I think those are the only three that I actually knew of. Oh, and Charles Hamilton. Yeah. Those four I knew already. Everyone else I discovered through the cover.
Okay.
So that's what I used to do at that time. Every year I would wait for that cover to see if one of my underground favorites made it, and then also to discover ones that I didn't know of yet.
Are they still doing that?
The last one I think they did might have been like 2020 or 2021, but to me it stopped mattering. I would like 2016. I would say was like the last one that like kind of mattered, but like the peak of it, I would say was 2009 to maybe 2014. But they still kept doing it. But I would say 16 might have been the last one I may have paid attention to. But 2009 to 2014, it was an event every year. Like artists were campaigning to make an
episode like that.
Oh, for sure.
Do like our drafts of this, like class or whatever. That would be pretty sick.
Because I mean, it was a moment in time, and this is when again artists were blowing up online first before reaching the mainstream.
That's crazy.
And B.o.B. being a product of that.
Yeah, so he's good. He's got a good start. If he's on there,
great start already.
You're with T.I. You already have a buzz off of your albums and mixtapes already.
So he's already making it. So that's how I first hear of him. And then obviously I check out a little bit of his mixtape material, and then Nothing on You comes out. And it's done. It's done after that.
Once Bruno Mars,
the moment he came again. That's, and like I said, that's the first time I ever heard of Bruno Mars.
Right. Yeah,
I had never heard of him.
That was their first time.
So it was like the intro. Like I knew of B.o.B. already.
I almost thought it was Bruno Mars' track.
That's what I'm saying. So it blew up, and from there, B.o.B. was a staple. I would say from maybe 2010 to maybe like 2013, 14-ish. That was probably like his peak run. But definitely from this album, he was on the BET Hip Hop Awards Cypher in 2011. Yeah. So, and again, in this Cypher, again, this is still all kind of blog era related. On his particular Cypher is him, Big Crit, Tech Nine, Machine Gun Kelly, Kendrick Lamar, and B.o.B. was last. And that's the other thing. He was the last one to rap because he was the biggest name. Like, he's on there with Machine Gun Kelly and Kendrick Lamar. But at that time, B.o.B. was the hotter artist.
Usually the anchor.
You see what I'm saying? So B.o.B. went last. His verse was obviously really good too. So he really was a pillar in that era of hip hop. I say like 2010 about 2013, 14-ish. Yeah. But yeah, that whole time period was it was a fun time for me.
Yeah, it was his era in that early 2010s.
He was running things for sure.
He was running it at that point. Because I remember that's all you heard on the radio was like
for sure
hit after hit after hit from this dude off of this album. Which
and then
is
a couple of those singles ended up being in commercials.
Right, commercials and other stuff that used it. Yeah. So it was basically everywhere.
Created a monster, I believe was on one of them. I think it was on Madden. Or NBA Live.
He's so versatile. Like it's not even just rap. Like we were mentioning, it crosses over to other genres.
Rooted in it, though.
But it's still rooted there because he still will throw a rap verse over it.
Absolutely.
So and it's just like it's experimental in some ways.
Yeah.
Talking about rolling into that with the style. It's very hard to kind of pinpoint one on here. I think that was a great reference to The Rock, being that he was more than just that. What do you guys think on style when you hear this guy? Is there anything that comes out like that you guys think of that?
My guy had the potential to be the one-man OutKast.
Yes,
straight up.
Yes,
I get that feel of Andre 3000
for sure.
Like the experimental part, you can't be foolish with that gift because you could be as super experimental, but then you're PM Dawn. But it's like, and that's no slight to PM Dawn, but it's like it's super, super niche, and it doesn't appeal to the masses. Like Set Adrift on Memory Bliss definitely did it, but it was just like one of the few far things about PM Dawn on the mainstream level. Underground heads love PM Dawn, but on the mainstream level where B.o.B's trying to get at, you have to have that appeal, but you also have to be kind of like, why am I doing this experimental? Is it rooted in authenticity?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, basically everything style-wise, Mark pretty much said, one man OutKast, 3,000, little sprinkles of Lupe in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would put him in, a little bit of Lupe. But yeah, B.o.B, I mean, he got to a point, like I said, because he blew up so fast. And I mean, even in that cypher that I had mentioned, he had a bar. Where he was like, he said, "You say my music's pop. I call it buying cribs for my mama, shaking hands with Obama." So, he's letting you know, like, yeah, okay, you could say I'm pop or whatever, but I'm actually trying to better my life and those around me. So rather than trying to put me in a box, I'm just going to make music that works and that sounds good, that people like, to the point where, I'm in the same, rooms as the president.
It's still, and it still remains rap at its core first.
Yes.
And then evolves into pop because of the mainstream popularity.
Right. And then, the way that you mentioned Lupe, that's funny because they said that that track with Bruno Mars, Nothing on You, was actually meant for Lupe before it was for B.o.B. When B.o.B came onto it. Somehow it passed Lupe's hands and went into B.o.B.'s. And I know Lupe had a bad time with Atlantic Records.
Around that time,
had something to do with it, possibly. But I think it is something to say, like, when you compare B.o.B style with, like, Eminem's on, let's say, the track, Eminem's, he's rapping on there, but it sounds to me just a little bit more robotic comparing to B.o.B's, flow on these type of beats sound more integrated, so that's something to say for him. That's like that's the adaptability to tracks like this and being able to effortlessly really fall in there like smooth and not where you can't tell like you're rapping over this. It sounds like you're going with it.
And with one trait to mention too on this, it sounds when you make songs like B.o.B does, songs like how OutKast do it. They're performing in the song.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in Miss Jackson, they sound like they're performing in the song.
Right.
In Mellow Fellow, Created a Monster, it sounds like he's performing within the song.
Yeah, and that Miss Jackson,
not just rapping.
That's not a typical beat you rap on. I mean, if you hear, if you're a big boy on that, like it's crazy rhymes on that, like that's hard to rap over. Like,
you're not in the confines of the instrumental and you're rapping with it. No, like it's presentation. It's a performance in the song.
Right.
And some of that stuff busts and some of it's actually really successful.
Yeah.
I will say he just, relating to him to another, like I like to try to relate their styles to other icons, celebrities, athletes, if I can. Deion Sanders comes to mind because he played both baseball and football at elite levels. So it's like B.o.B because he shifts between rap, pop, rock, and soul with such ease. And both bring flair, adaptability, confidence to whatever arena they're in.
That's a great comparison. Actually, just before getting over here, I was watching an interview he did maybe 6-7 years ago. And they were talking about just some of his influences when he was, making beats in the beginning. And he was like, I think he mentioned OutKast, of course. He mentioned Alicia Keys, Maroon 5. He was throwing all kind of names from all different, genres styles, and different styles. Like, he mentioned like, I think he mentioned Bone Crusher. Like,
that's crazy.
Didn't like just all type Crime Mob, like. All different types of hip hop,
all these different senseis,
sound, soul, rock, everything. Like just many different types of sound. He's like, I don't really, follow the script of one type of sound. You know what I mean? I didn't do it when I made beats, and I didn't want to do it when I started rapping.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and having that type of those type of characteristics, being too experimental, you can fall by the wayside. But to like actually hone in and figure out, this is my sound. This is authentically me, but I also am still honoring what I've looked up to and like learn the skills from.
Yeah, I also got like a little bit of Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi meets Lupe kind of. I feel like
freshman classmates.
Yeah, the melodic instincts they both have that same sound. The cerebral bars from Lupe. because that's the thing about B.o.B too, is that he can go cerebral. He can start off very personal, and all of a sudden you're in the cosmos, like the next, like he is very much like that. And then in that sense, he, if you're related to like cartoon wise, I had that he reminded me of Rick from Rick and Morty, because very wildly inventive, intellectually restless. He's unafraid to dive into bizarre, mind bending like territory. You know, that's that dude.
Well versed.
Yeah.
And,
well versed.
And like, it's funny, B.o.B has the portal gun in music genres.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I gotta go talk to OutKast for a second. All right, I gotta go talk to Adam Levine from Maroon 5.
Yeah, and he's so nonchalant about it too. He's like, "What? Like, this is what I do."
A Rick with no Morty. B.o.B by himself.
Yeah, B.o.B, man. And then he goes on to make another follow-up album after this. Still hits platinum, which really cements his legacy as an artist and knowing what he's doing, working with legendary people. I think he worked with Lil Wayne on that. A couple of other people he worked on that with, and then eventually does another one. Collabs with like Taylor Swift and stuff. Crazy.
He had his... he's a very creative person featuring with other people. Yeah. And typically that's like Drake's role. Sorry to say.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but Drake's not as musically inclined as B.o.B
because
at
B.o.B
this point.
is kind of like one of those guys you would use for trivia. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who was the guy that featured on the Billboard Top 200, a solo male artist other than Drake and Beaver?
Oh, to feature Taylor Swift.
Beaver. Who could you say? B.o.B. Like, he's one of those guys.
B.o.B.
Yeah. An obscure name unless you were paying attention.
Right. Unless you were paying attention to that. But then it goes into obscurity a little bit with the times where the flat earth thing was becoming a topic of discussion.
Him and Kyrie were kicking it.
It's crazy because Kyrie is like the face of that. Like, still, like, and he's
wild.
Still, isn't it crazy? And he's still trying to brush that off, but dope artist, dude. I'm really glad that you kind of brought us here. At first, I was just like, dude, this guy, that's crazy throwback.
Yeah.
That's a crazy throwback because even to this day, he still releases stuff independently.
That era where pop and hip hop met and were just like in unison for a minute was good to me because it kind of...
You liked it? So I wasn't a big fan of it.
So I liked it because now, like, this is where the creative juices start flowing.
Sure, yeah.
You know, this is where we have, people are breaking the genre out. Lyrical's fine, but it's like, hey, look, like, what else can we do? Right. We have to make new branches in this hip hop tree.
I think I just didn't understand it at the time. So for me, it was like, is this the direction we're going in now? Yeah. Like, it felt more watered down, but I understand it looking at it from that lens. Like now, like, oh, we're venturing out. We're not watering down.
Right.
You know? So I guess I just didn't see it that way. How did you see it?
Oh, no, I loved it because, like I said, this is literally in the middle of the blog era, and this is where I'm seeing the guys that I was listening to on mixtapes or heard about or told people about starting to crack into the industry around this time. So we're seeing B.o.B and Big Sean and Wale and then Drake and J. Cole and then Kendrick and, you know, all these guys, Dom Kennedy and freaking Currency and Nipsey Hussle and J-Rock, and like, it's so many of them. Meek Mill, like, it's different sounds, different regions, Big Crit. Like, I can keep going. A$AP Rocky. I mean, I can go for days because it was just so many of them around that time, and the grind I had to get on had shifted to, you know, back in the day it was handing out CDs in the trunk of your car. These days is you putting your music on the internet and getting it out there and people hearing it and telling people, hey, you need to check out B.o.B. You got to check out this Big Sean mixtape, this Nipsey Hussle mixtape, yada, yada, yada. That's so true. When B.o.B was the first one to kind of make the big hit, it was Drake and B.o.B. They were kind of like the first two to really hit mainstream. So when I saw B.o.B hit, I was actually happy because it was like, at first it was like just Drake. And then B.o.B, I was like, okay, now there's going to be room for other people eventually from this time to hit mainstream. So when B.o.B popped off, even though Nothing on You eventually I got on my nerves because you just heard it too much.
Nothing on You.
Great song.
If you were hearing it on the radio, some chick had it on a ringtone.
Yeah, it just after a while I was like, all right.
Nothing on
Man, but it was such a huge record. So even though that's why like when Airplanes came out, I liked Airplanes way more than Nothing on You. Even though that one was a big hit too. Yeah. But I don't know, it just for me it didn't get on my nerves the way Nothing on You did. Oh my
Shooting Stars Part 2.
I could not stand Nothing on You after a while. Like at first, loved it. About 2 months in, oh man, I was over it. But I was happy that he popped because I was like, oh, there's gonna be a lane for these other guys at some point.
Come out now.
I was like, Big Sean's gonna make it at some point. Wale's gonna pop off. Kendrick's gonna pop off. Like these guys are J. Cole, like their time is gonna come.
It's gonna come now.
And there's this feeling that you get when you're supporting these kind of artists. Like I felt that with B.o.B and the Cool Kids.
Mm-hmm.
When B.o.B popped off, I'm like, man, we made it.
Yeah.
Like we made it.
Yeah,
I guess because
I was following Homeboy for so long.
Yeah,
we
like
made
rooting
it.
for your
That's why I
team.
missed it because I wasn't following him before the success. So to me, it was just like instant success. So that's why I missed it.
And I used the Cool Kids example because they were almost there.
They were right there.
They just plateaued.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because again, like I said, everybody from this time
they were trying to make bangers,
it.
Bro.
You know, some did, some didn't. Yeah. It's just some were underground legends, some were mainstream successes, some had a couple years and just kind of vanished. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, the Cool Kids, that's another example. They were on fire during that time. Like you would look forward to those new songs on whether it was On Smash or All Hip Hop. Yeah. Two Dope Boys, like all these different sites. What was the other one? It was School of Hard Knocks. Like it was so many blog sites where it was like every day I'm on the computer waiting to see who's dropping something.
Right.
Like that was what the fun was. I would spend hours on the computer.
Yeah.
I would be at work on downtime checking something out.
He was on the clock.
I get off. I go home. I'm doing the same thing. Like. I spent so much time on the computer back then. It was ridiculous. Like that time, it was so fun. So, like I said, with us covering B.o.B, one of the staples from the time, it just takes me back to literally living on the computer for hip hop.
All right, let's go into the album cover. So the album cover, for those who are listening, it has Bob presents the adventures of Bobby Ray in a comic book style fashion, all yellow, and then it has behind it. Like kind of like he's landing on this planet from outer space. He's rocking some fly gear. I can't tell what the gear is, but it's a red jacket with shades, fresh cut, white shirt, fresh jeans and shirt, and he's rocking some shoes. I can't tell what they are either.
Yeah, I can't tell.
But then you have some fire, some water, kind of like earth, wind, and fire sort of elements playing around here.
My guy liked Avatar.
Oh yeah. He's wearing some platinum jewelry, a wrist, like some sort of wrist bracelet with a ring. We got fly as heck, landing in from
B.o.B,
Mars like an alien.
Yeah, exploding on the scene is pretty much what I got with this. I think that's what the motif was. You know.
I like that he used yellow for the letters instead of red. Whereas usually everyone goes with red to stand out. Him going with yellow is something kind of different.
Yeah. I do see like that also resembles him. Yeah, coming in hot.
Mm-hmm. The Avengers pose. He does the Avengers pose.
Yeah. But it also shows he creates like whenever an artist uses that comic theme motif, like that just shows already you're like a nerd. You're into different things probably. Mm-hmm. You're very creative. And him coming from space, also that plays into like I was saying earlier, it can be very personal. Then you could be in the cosmos the next second with this guy.
Yeah.
So like that already shows the versatility. The range. There you go. It shows the range too.
In a nice homage to Slick Rick's album. Too, because you have the Great Adventures.
Right. Anytime you do that, it's like a homage.
And doing that anytime making a title even close to a legendary hip hop title, it's like you're holding the responsibility of carrying on something.
Storytelling for sure has to be in there. Yeah. So that's going on. Any other takeaways The Adventures of Bobby Ray. Why do you think he went with The Adventures of Bobby Ray?
I mean, he's telling his story, but, in a creative light, you know what I mean? Basically, where it's like, it says, because it says B.o.B presents The Adventures of Bobby Ray. So almost like, his alias is telling his true story.
That's crazy. It's like backwards, huh? Like
yeah.
The B.o.B is telling his real story.
Right. So Bobby Ray is who he really is. B.o.B is the rap alias. You know what I mean? That's kind of how crazy. I looked at it. You know what I mean? So he's telling his true story through his medium of rapping.
Nesquik presents the stories of Isaiah or the tales of Isaiah.
Exactly.
Like backwards.
Just change your name into a symbol.
Exactly. Like that's literally that's what it's doing. Your alias is telling the true story of your real life self.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's dope. So this part in the podcast, we start to turn into where we go into the album. We pick 3 tracks. We deep dive into the lyrics, talk about the meaning, highlight any like cadences or styles that we see that are going on. In this album, it's very hard. There's 20 tracks in this thing. It's very hard to narrow it down. A lot of them are all.
It's mostly all bangers
and
too.
They're all bangers too. So it was kind of hard to narrow this down, but we chose "Don't Let Me Fall" as number 1. That's the intro track. Past My Shades, that's featuring Lupe Fiasco. And then 3, Airplanes 2, featuring the great Eminem. So those are our 3 tracks that we chose. Honorable mentions in this? You guys have any honorable
Created
mentions?
a Monster, Mellow Fellow.
Now, I didn't know Created a Monster was on this, but like you mentioned,
there's different regions had different tracks. And it's funny, his other mixtape, there's another mixtape that's literally called Should Have Been the First, Should Have Been an Album. Literally, like that's what every mixtape should have been called anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Should have been an album.
Yeah.
He had one, and that's where I started listening to it. And I'm like, upon listening to Adventures of Bobby Ray, at least getting it, I remember getting this at Circuit City. I was like, where's all these other tracks? Like, you might as well just put them on there again. And then
because they used to do, not only did they do region exclusives, they used to do store exclusives.
Yeah.
Like they would have a Target version that would have a song or 2 that you could only get if you bought it from Target or if you bought it from Circuit City or Best Buy. Or like
Circuit City.
They would have like Best Buy exclusives.
Comp USA.
Like I vividly remember Best Buy exclusive albums. Like you had to get the Best Buy album to get a certain song.
Yeah. Circuit City.
There's one in the Midwest called Hastings. That was their version of Best Buy. I remember going like in Roswell when I used to go over there. Oh, let's go to Hastings. I was like, what the heck's Hastings? I can get a suit? No, that was like their Best Buy. Hastings.
Comp USA, look that one up.
Oh, man.
Short-lived run.
For all your computer needs, that tip-up is brought to you by Comp USA.
Short-lived.
20% off all USBs.
That in Circuit City. All right, so we jump into the first track, Don't Let Me Fall. Chorus.
Yeah.
I'll start off with the chorus. Well, it was just a dream, just a moment ago. I was up so high, looking down at the sky. Don't let me fall. I was shooting for stars on a Saturday night. They say what goes up must come down, but don't let me fall. Don't let me fall. Don't let me fall. They say what goes up must come down, but don't let me fall. Already, just you see the aspirations and the ambition already, like shooting for the stars.
Yes.
And whether you could take that into the music field, like. He's aiming high for the, in music.
Yeah.
He wants to.
It could be like in the spiritual sense where he's actually like talking to a deity himself or within himself. Don't let me fall. Yeah,
there's multiple things you can go here with that.
Shooting stars on a Saturday. And right here off the jump, you get his range. He's not just a rapper. He can actually still kind of sing,
He can sing his hooks.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me fall.
Yeah, don't let me fall. Yeah, that's true. And that theme is always throughout his works too, like the stars and being up there, like
out of space. Yeah. That thing's always getting to me, man. I could pop off verse 1.
Go ahead.
Because I'm gliding up there, oh so very high that if the clouds were to drop me, then I'd fall out the sky. I don't really know why I'm here. I guess I'm just here for the ride. I swear it feels like I'm dreaming. It's vividly defined. Yeah. So call me whatever you want. Title me whatever you like. But let's just get this one thing straight. You know my name, so I run this town when I'm on this mic. Yeah, so here I go. B.o.B, Bobby Ray. I don't know. Need I know? But I know that I flow, rack 'em up, knock 'em down. Dominoes.
That was hard.
Yeah. Just the wordplay of the I don't know, need I know, but I know that I flow, rack them up, knock them down.
And you literally feel that you're on the climb up of this big roller coaster of just lyrics and then the drop. Dominoes.
Hard.
Then I go, as my story goes, I've been down here before, product of my East Decatur home, because I was in the cold trying to keep my toes unfroze. Now I'm in your house. Now I'm in your soul. Now I'm everywhere that your iPod go. That your iPod go. Everything I seen was just a dream just a moment ago. Well, it was just a dream.
It's dope that he's rapping real shit in here. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of dope. I mean, he's not going into detail, but already he's giving you the idea of like where he's coming from, like, you know, from a lowly life until now making it mainstream.
And it's lyricism that's not vulgar.
Nope.
You're still telling your story, still being creative.
Right.
Like you can get a lot of words across and then appeal to more masses without the cursing. But
Yeah. Then we go to verse 2. Well, I'm from much lower than where the pavement is, because there ain't no parachute that they can make for this, because I put my pain, my heart, my soul, my faith in this. Does anyone feel like how I feel? Then you can relate to this.
Can I? Yeah. It's right here is where the Lupe flow comes in. His style is exactly akin to this at this point, with these rhyme setups.
Does anyone feel like how I feel? Because you could relate to this, or just blaze to this. Maybe roll one up, then take a hit. Toast to the good life, then take a sip. Vacay every day, take a trip. It's easy to see I was made for this. From the womb all the way to the grave I spit. That's dope right there. Just to show y'all what greatness is. Yeah, I'm talking very lucid. Like making movies. To picture my life, boy, you need a higher resolution. Oh, I used to cut class in the day, then run away at night. But now I'm the ruler of the upper class, and I don't even write.
The ruler of the upper class.
Dope.
Yeah, that was dope.
That's a nice little double meaning there. The ruler, like he's the top of the class, but also a ruler, as in, you know, just using a ruler, maybe as a metric to be in the lines or something. Like that's dope.
And I don't even write.
That was hard.
The I don't even write part, like, is that meaning literally? Like he's not writing?
Well, because you don't use the ruler to write. That's where I'm getting it from. Is I think.
Oh, okay, I see.
But now I'm the ruler of the upper class, and I don't even write. Let's see what Genius got on this. Let me see. B.o.B's commenting on the irony of his success. He's been a little kid, couldn't class. Yeah, they didn't really. They just talk about they just go real interpersonal with this. But from what I'm thinking, it's like the ruler of the upper class, and I don't even write. I mean, what I get off that
I'm thinking just, like Lil Wayne style, like he memorizes his own lyric, like Jay-Z, Lil Wayne.
We don't need to give him that much credit.
Well, he said I don't even write, so I'm like,
he's already cool. B.o.B, you're already cool. Like if you write your stuff, it's fine.
You don't need to give him that much credit.
He also doesn't write. He doesn't write. He just real. Remembers
this is all B.o.B right now.
Yeah.
So we move on to the second track, which is going to be Nothing on You. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing on You. No, it's going to be
Nothing on You,
baby. It's going to be
Past My Shades.
Past My Shades, that's right. Past My Shades. Past My Shades actually features Lupe Fiasco on the track.
Yep.
So that's going to be interesting hearing both of them on this.
I'll go with the first verse.
All right.
So he goes, well, ask me a question. I tell you no lies, because there's nothing to hide. My soul's in my eyes, and I'm ahead of my time, but I cannot rewind. The only thing I fear is the mirror in my bathroom. People look and try to see a disguise, but there is nothing that nobody can see and can't see in light. If it's a song with a rhyme or a verse with a line, then you understand my mind.
But you can't see
past my shades, past my shades, past my shades. Like, I love that, the meaning of that. You know what I mean? The shades, obviously being sunglasses, but also you can use it as another meaning as being, you know, shades on the window. you can't see past them, like I'm blocking you out,
Yeah.
or like, you know what I mean, you can't see past, you know, my actions. Like he said, my soul's in my eyes.
Yeah.
So because he's wearing shades so often, you can't really see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I love the double meaning of that.
We also have the idea of like you can't see in anybody's soul without the sunglasses.
Right.
That's why there's like a lot of people, when you introduce yourself, if they don't take off their shades during like indoors, that's already something, you know. Or even even in a musical sense, people have already alluded to this. The Corey Hart song, "I wear my sunglasses at night." His mentions in the chorus is that he hides his eyes from everybody. So it's kind of like this has already been like an idea already set into music, yeah. And even if I'm not wrong, Jim Jones already did "I Wear My Stunner Shades at Night."
Stunner Shade, that was
Stunner Shade.
Stunner Shades. That was it the Federation? It was from the Bay.
Something, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was something that like sampled the Corey Hart.
Yeah. There was a remix of it. I remember that.
So this is all apparent and everything, and it's cool to take that idea and
Federation.
At least dive into it a little bit more.
We were hearing a lot about shades around this time.
Stunner Shades.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You want to take Lupe's verse?
Okay. Who else but Lou else?
Already.
Wordplay, dude.
That's classic Lupe
different.
already, man.
Oh, that's how you do it.
You know, I got two belts, the black and the white one. I begin and I master. I see my eyeglasses, but they saying what I'm seeing through is false, like Ross. I can hear him through the wall, like walk this way, trying to dissuade my thoughts. I'm a slave to myself and disobeyed my boss. It's all a disarray, this parade I walk. They get amazed when they catch a chain I toss. Amidst this array of different ways I talk. And it hangs from your brain if my chain you caught. Like I cough without covering my mouth. I tip the scales like the king of the south. Forgot that I was fat. I lost my way, but now I'm back looking for the shade I sought. And not wonders, I'm Scott Summers. So don't
make me take off.
Don't make me take off my stunners. That's a sick ass bar.
Dude.
I'm Scott Summers. Don't make me take off my stunners. Woo. Bobby Ray, you know I got my numbers. And them deer can't see us like hunters. Ooh, that's a crazy bar.
I want to go back to when he's talking about the two belts, the white and the black. I begin and I master.
Right.
Because of the white and the black belt.
The dichotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lupe will legitimately beat your ass, y'all. Just letting y'all know.
Yeah.
Lupe is a real martial artist out here.
The time I saw him slicing fruit on his Instagram with the samurai sword, I'm like, man, you're good, bro. Like,
don't get it twisted.
He'll do that Trunks thing to you if you're freezing.
Who was it? There was somebody recently I saw in an interview. They were like, "Yeah, I like Lupe," until he got all weird with the karate stuff, and I'm like, I got it because it was funny, but like.
He was doing martial arts before rap.
Yeah, he legit does it.
Yeah.
He literally fell into rap.
Yes.
He could have been like, and he's the type of individual, and kind of like Bobby Ray, wherever they wanted to go, they would just be successful at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
They just happened to choose rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's funny.
He's with this freaking samurai sword on Instagram, but he's also lyrical.
Yes.
Like, how more Wu-Tang do you want to get?
I mean, he's the embodiment of what Wu-Tang is.
Like all the sound effects, but in real life. I see your style is better than mine.
Tiger style.
I forgot. There was somebody else who rapped who actually took classes.
Lupe Fiasco ain't nothing.
Karate. I forgot who it was though.
Lupe Fiasco ain't none to
protect your
neck.
Not
at all.
Protect your neck.
Protect your Lou.
Protect your Lou. We're referencing Mortal Kombat 1 if you guys don't know. Lou. Okay, so we move on from Past My Shades. This is a dope track. We go past another shout out to Bet I with T.I. That was dope. Even the fact that they did Bet I with T.I. That's
also wanted to mention too, these lyrics this is all chorus focused. This whole album's all chorus focused.
Yes.
But I think that only benefits what his skill set is.
Yes.
I think that benefits his skill set because he could rap, but he's also trying to appeal to himself with what he wants to do. But I think in the back of his mind, he also knows is like, hey, look, like I would want to be as creative as I want to be on these songs because I can be.
Yes.
You know, I think that's where the motif is on this.
Yeah, and he shows off like his abilities to sing. He could sing. He could. He has the melodic flow. Like he could do it all. Like so, it's kind of crazy. So then we go into the last track, which is going to be Airplanes 2, featuring Eminem, and then also who is it on the hook? It's
Haley
Williams. Haley Williams. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky and like shooting stars?
I could really use a wish right now. But just think of but look at the concept of that though. That's actually
crazy.
A very
it is,
brilliant concept.
And this is kind of like what Eminem would do with like Dido, and he would do it with
the album that bombed. I forgot the album right now, but the album that bombed, he would have did it on that too.
Yeah, I forget. It's
I'll pull it up right now.
But yeah, so it's same thing, same concept of where like you're using somebody for, I believe the ladies from Paramore, right? We're only focused on the hip hop portion.
He would have did it on Revival.
Yeah,
like this is the type of song he would have did on Revival easily.
Oh yeah.
We can pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars.
Yo.
I really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
This is around that time of
Haley
Revival.
Williams. Yeah, Haley Williams from.
Yeah.
This
is around that time of Revival. You're right.
Yes, it's around that same time.
Right.
Let's pretend like it's 98, like I'm eating lunch off of styrofoam trays. Damn. Man, that's dated. Trying to be the next rapper coming out of the A town, hoping for a record deal, ignoring my pain. Yeah. So let's pretend like I'm on stage, check, and when the beat drops, everybody goes insane. Ooh. And everybody knows my name, Bob, and everywhere I go, people want to hear me sing. Come on. Oh yeah, and I just dropped my new album. On the first week, did 500,000. Gold in the spring, diamond in the fall, and then a world tour just to top it all off. And let's pretend like they call me the greatest, selling out arenas with the big ass stages, and everybody loves me and no one ever hated. Just try to use imagination. Damn.
Man, that's
not provoking.
That's really dope.
Just
rhythmically there.
He literally just outlined
selling out arenas with big ass stages.
Aspirations that he wants to achieve. You know
manifesting.
Some you know what I mean, some of them, did, some of them not quite, but he basically achieved most of the stuff that he said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then so far, good song structure. This is all hitting home. It's all cohesive.
Yeah. And then verse 2 still plays on his formula where he's still imagining, still dreaming, still trying to figure something out.
You want that one?
Yeah, I got verse 2. Okay, let's pretend like this never happened. Like I never had dreams of being a rapper. Like I didn't write raps up in all of my classes. Like I never used to run away into the blackness. Now. Let's pretend like it was all good. Like I didn't like staring at my notebook. Like I did things that I probably never should. But I ain't have neighbors. That's why they call it hood. Oh, see, that's dope. See, he took neighborhood, sliced the neighbor out of it.
They didn't have neighbors.
They didn't have neighbors.
That's why they
call it hood. That's hard.
That was a hard bar right there.
Yeah, now let's pretend that I ain't got a name.
No.
Before they ever called me B.o.B or Bobby or AKA Bobby Ray. I'm talking like before the mixtapes, before the videos and the deals and the fame, before they ever once compared me to Andre,
3 stacks,
before I ever got on MySpace, before they ever noticed my face. So let's just pretend and make wishes out of airplanes, man. See, he played off the, he knew he was getting compared to 3 stacks. He heard those whispers. He heard all of that. So he said, let me, make mention to us. Yeah, I know, I hear it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because sometimes, rappers, they got to acknowledge what's being said about them. So, I hear it.
Before I ever got on MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. That's how,
Ice Cube's the DOC's the Snoop deal.
That's how people was putting music out. You know what I mean? Again, that's early blog era, but that was I mean, I always say the first time I ever heard Drake ever in my life rap was on a Little Brother song on MySpace.
Oh yeah,
called "Don't You Have a Man." That's the first time I ever heard. It was in 2006. In my dorm room.
There's an example there's actually some symbolism that I want to use. I know the chorus. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night skies are like shooting stars? So you are set with this idea to just imagine that these airplanes are shooting stars because you're within a densely populated area. Right. There's too much light pollution.
Right, so you can't really see the stars.
What's the first thing that you see when you go outside to these like desolate areas when you're on like a road trip in the middle of nowhere, crack open the window at night, you see nothing but stars in the sky. Right? That's the only time you're allowed to do this. So I think that they painted a good picture of like, hey, most people in these densely populated areas only see these shooting stars, aka airplanes, in their eyes. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
That is a deeper meaning there.
People can. There's a lot more relatability to that.
I also look at it like, that's why, for them to say, because obviously, we know the trope of, making a wish if you see a shooting star, but also, shooting stars only come around however so often. Yeah, you can see airplanes in the sky all the time. Right. So, I think also the idea of, can we pretend airplanes are like shooting stars? Because, shooting star, I might see that who knows how many times. True. But I can see an airplane pretty much any night I step outside. So it's like, hey, I'm more likely for these wishes to come true. We need these wishes because I'm seeing, planes on a frequent basis. Right. Damn, so I think that's kind of dope as well.
I just like the message of hope there because that's something that Eminem's going to want to jump on. Anything that's a big message like that, like hope and all that.
Yeah, especially during this time.
Translate and transcend. Eminem's going to jump down on that.
Like I said, especially during this time. This is him, fresh being, sober and recovering and all of that. Yeah. Like this is like legit positive Eminem
and this
era.
is big Eminem too. This is Eminem that's
not afraid.
Wants to do big records.
This is legitimate, like I said, what I call positive Eminem.
Yeah, or pop Eminem.
You know what I mean? He was really in that bag at this time.
Yeah, the pop version. Oh, he was poppy even coming out, but
only because how dope he was.
Yeah, well, it wasn't intentional at all. Yeah. he was very
a number one hit. Stapled his nuts to a stack of paper.
True.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Figure out what Spice
instincts
Girl.
to kill in sync. Don't get me started. Like, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Number one song.
Your number one hit.
Dissing pop artists.
That's crazy.
Your number one hit. I want to figure out what Spice Girl I wanted when pregnant. Number one hit.
Crazy.
Oh shit. That's crazy. Though. Peace to Eminem, man. Those are the dope years.
Crazy, man.
Those are the dope years of Eminem. Let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen. Let's pretend these things wouldn't have been no different. Pretend he procrastinated and had no motivation. Pretend he just made excuses and there was no and that were so paper thin. They could blow away with the wind. Marshall, you're never gonna make it. Makes no sense to play the game. There ain't no way that you'll win. Pretend he just stayed outside all day and played with his friends. Pretend he even had a friend to say was his friend. And it wasn't time to move and schools weren't changing again. He wasn't socially awkward and just strange as a kid. He had a father and his mother wasn't crazy as shit. And he never dreamed he could rip stadiums and just lazy as shit. Fuck a talent show in the gymnasium, bitch. You would amount to shit. Quit daydreaming, kid. You need to get your cranium checked. You're thinking like an alien. It's just already, it's like he's off. He's off already.
He's up there meeting a Bobby Ray. Just like,
and once you say alien, I mean, he already kind of plays off of that thing of being an alien too. So that's already dope. But yeah, he's going off here, basically saying things that probably have happened in his life and how he still overcame those things. Stop being awkward, kid. It just ain't realistic. Now pretend. They ain't just make them angry with this shit. And there was no one he could even aim when he was pissed at. And his alarm went off to wake him, but he didn't make it to the Rap Olympics. Slept through his plane and he missed it. He's going to have a hard time explaining to Haley and Laney these food stamps and this WIC shit because he never risked it. He never risked shit. Yeah. He hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap. So he ain't even here. He pretends that airplanes in the night skies are like shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now. So talking about, being lazy, like if he was just lazy, waiting for it to fall in his lap, it would never happen.
Chilling would be a dope rapper on food stamps.
Yeah, just being out there.
Yeah.
It's a dope verse.
Unsigned Eminem. Yeah, imagine that.
Just out here ripping fools.
Still on Slim Shady now, present day, just still slam.
Underground.
Crazy.
Still underground.
Can we talk about that? Like, would he not hooked up with Dre? Would he still be an underground threat?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think he may have eventually become the Eminem we got Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's always maybe. You never really know.
He definitely won't be as big as he is now.
Yeah, because the Dre cosign, in my opinion, is the greatest cosign in hip hop. I mean, just the track record of it is too much. You know what I mean?
you don't know where Eminem's headed on a different timeline. I'm talking
Dre
like
brought the best of him, so we don't know if we even got the best.
Right,
of
he
him.
might have just been a whole underground lyrical miracle spiritual. Rapping his ass off, but not necessarily making hit records. Like Dre taught Eminem how to write songs. Dre didn't have to do anything as far as his pen. The pen was there, but Dre taught him song structure,
and production,
hooks. You know what I mean? All those kind of like those things that made Eminem from a great rapper to a superstar. Yeah, that's what he got from Dre.
Can you imagine M 55 years old, still Slim Shady though?
Yeah, just barring it up. Just straight bars.
I'm not done with you, Kim.
I feel like that could have been an alternate reality where he could have been this like underground rapper,
legend.
Like one of those guys. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that could have been a possibility.
Yeah,
but because he was kind of on the scene.
Raucus knew of him. Yeah. I remember. Fat Joe's told the story multiple times
Juice.
that he had a chance to sign Eminem. Once upon a time. You know what I mean? Like
crazy.
So it's like there were people that knew of him, you know what I mean? But him taking that flight to LA is what changed everything. And you know what I mean? Dre, getting the tape. I forgot who gave him the tape. I think it was Rosenberg. Yeah. But when Dre heard him, he said, "Oh, that's it."
Peter Rosenberg. Or Jimmy Iovine, I think.
Yeah. Maybe Jimmy heard it first. Maybe Jimmy heard it first. But once he heard the Slim Shady EP, that was it. Dre was like, "Oh yeah, I'm turning this into gold." Yeah. You know what I mean? And the rest was history.
It's a dope track though.
It's cool feature too. This is like you only expect a certain region of cameos at this point because you get like, okay, cool. This is hip hop. We got Lupe. Yeah. We got Bruno Mars popping off beginning, and then we got like Paramore, but then you got Eminem, legend.
Yes.
And to put him that low on the track listing too. Well, the song, not Eminem himself, but the track itself. If I'm popping off like an artist like that, that's like number 3,
about 2 or 3,
whatever.
I'm starting with that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, now, granted, the single version is the version we heard with Eminem, because I think on the album you have the original version without Eminem. Yeah, and then in the end you have the Eminem version.
Yeah, the second version.
So it's like the deluxe version.
Yeah.
So which is the version that we heard on the radio. You know what I mean? And the video and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. All in all, this was a good time, man. Yeah, now that I look back at it, it was a good time, and I think he really kind of opened the doors, B.o.B, for, like you were saying, Ali, for a lot of different artists who were able to break through.
Oh yeah, I mean, this was a time, like I said, with that whole blog era, like this is when it was starting to be okay to be kind of vulnerable, introspective like that, you know what I mean? Without, you could be like, before this time, the only thing introspective was, it was introspective, but it was still mostly, street related. Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't about being like in touch with your actual feelings about things, or depression, or, being sad, or even just being, hopeless, or struggling with, being awkward. Like all those types of things weren't really being talked about. And really the first kind of artists to get through on a mainstream level to do that were Drake and B.o.B, you know what I mean? As far as to hit that on a mainstream level. So that's why this time period with B.o.B popping off was so huge. And then after he blows up, then you see J. Cole, Kendrick, and others kind of creep through that, get through that door, but he gets in there first, you know what I mean? Of all those guys, like he gets in first, and he was able to, carve out a niche that helped propel hip hop to bigger heights. Yeah.
And the fact that he had such a wide range still gave people that weren't as creative as B.o.B to like have this aspiration to be like, well, I don't do everything he does, but I do a couple of things. Right. And that'll still translate to good success.
Absolutely.
And you might not get a lot of people out of that if you didn't have B.o.B jumping off of the gate first.
Absolutely. I mean, you have, like with Wale, he dabbles in poetry on some of his stuff. You'll have, like Big Crit and J. Cole, they make their own beats. You know what I mean? So you have these other guys within this time that, do other things creatively You know, Tyler the Creator, you know, he freaking had a whole like cartoon at one point. You know what I mean? Like it started to be cool to flex your creative muscles in other areas outside of just rapping. And I think with B.o.B being able to play the guitar and being a legit musician,
multifaceted person. He even has what they call a Bobcast. He has his own podcast like show and does his own like TV. And
his discography is crazy too because he's always releasing independent projects. He's been working really hard. Like it's just there's releases that have not hit the mainstream.
Yeah. It's weird because it's kind of backwards. Usually you start off on the independent first and then major.
He's doing the Benjamin Button approach to hip hop.
Benjamin Button.
But the dude could tour tomorrow. He has enough hit records where
he has a cult following.
The dude tomorrow could go do arenas and kill it.
All he needs was those 3 songs that he got here. Yeah. You're forever cemented.
He got bangers. Yeah.
He could tour forever just off of what he just did on this album.
Alone,
not even counting his second and third album that also has some hits on it.
Because he's still gaining a cult following.
Like, who's ready to hear the unreleased stuff? Everyone like cheering for that.
Yeah. So piece of this album, if you guys haven't heard it, check it out. It's definitely a classic. It's one that will take you back to a period of time that was very crucial for hip hop and did a lot. Very experimental, but like, you know, pop, rap era, like that was kind of cool, experimental for me now looking back at it. At the moment, you know, I was more geared into the backpack rapping, but
understood.
But it retrospectively, it was important and was very critical for this something like this. What B.o.B did, very important. So check it out. Of course, we're dropping episodes every Monday. So please make sure to follow, like, subscribe. We're on a road to 5,000 subscribers. That has to be the next.
We're getting there.
We are getting there. Yeah.
A year ago, we were talking about 500.
That's true.
And this is our first show since reaching 3,000. So we want to thank everybody that subbed up to get us to this point. You know,
well said.
Us hitting the 3,000 mark.
Because 3K makes hip hop. That's hip hop's payday.
Hey.
Yeah. That's Andre.
Facts.
3K.
Yeah, we're 3 stacks up in here.
A lot of stacks now. Absolutely.
So yeah, peace to you guys, man. It's all about, you know, the people. It's all about, you know, us just you know, giving these artists their flowers and for what they're doing, man. It's crazy for what they're doing. So yeah, peace to B.o.B.
Yeah.
Much respect to this artist. Dope. Mark, you already know what time it is.
To the MCs, if you drop a mic, drop a like.
Got nothing on you, nothing.
Or I'll be in the sky. All the subscribers created a monster.
Got nothing on you, Mark.
All the subscribers got nothing
on you. They got nothing on this podcast.
Make sure you subscribe and like a shooting star.
We can really use a sub right now.
Sub right now.